President posted in part, quote, "The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Kimmel is yet another arm of the DNC. And to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution."
Trump really gives no f***s. He just admitted it. Hey guys, welcome back to another Quick Hits video. Welcome to the channel. This is my series where I take on breaking stories and viral moments. And we have a big update on the Jimmy Kimmel saga, which I've been all over the last week or so because Jimmy Kimmel made some pretty gross comments and insinuations about Charlie Kirk's killer being MAGA and MAGA being in denial. It led to this tremendous public backlash, which I understand. But then Trump's FCC chair got involved and started threatening the licenses of ABC stations and kind of sounded like a mafioso saying, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And I spoke out because I have a problem with that. I don't think the government should be involved. I think these should be private market decisions. And if they want to cancel Kimmel of their own accord, so be it. But I don't think the government should be pressuring people to silence speech of their critics. And that's what I saw happening here. Now, I was met with what I could only call denial, right? Like people saying, no, this really was just a private market decision. The government had no involvement here, and they were totally content to let ABC make its own decision. So much for that. But just in case you need to catch up, here's a clip from Fox News where I debated Will Cain, who's a great sport, who has different perspectives on his show. But we had a debate about this, and he insisted this was just a private market decision. Like I mentioned, if they had just decided to get rid of Kimmel, so be it. As a market decision, I don't think he's been funny in at least a decade, and I think what he said about Charlie Kirk was gross. But I think it's really, really reprehensible, and I do think it's an attack on the First Amendment for the FCC chairman to speak almost like a mafia boss and say, nice license your member stations have there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it, right? He said, his exact words were, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Correct.
If you don't take action on Kimmel.
However,
that's jawboning.
Okay, I want to take this on the actions that happen and the actions that could happen. First of all, it doesn't appear that the FCC had any influence or effect on the decision by Nexstar and Sinclair and ultimately by ABC. These stations made their decision independently and by most accounts before FCC Chair Brendan Carr went on to Benny Johnson's show and uttered the words that you just repeated. This was a market-based decision. This was consumers in middle America who take Nexstar and Sinclair stations saying enough. This is the owners of those stations saying enough. And then it's ultimately the heads of ABC and Disney going, wow, we can't lose 60 stations. We've got to do something about Jimmy Kimmel. So your fear of jawboning by the government simply didn't play out in the case of Jimmy Kimmel. Well, Trump has a habit of being too honest sometimes and just saying the quiet part out loud, and it can create real headaches for his supporters and defenders because he just kind of undercut that whole narrative with a late night Truth Social post. Let's read this because, of course, the news development here is that Jimmy Kimmel has been brought back by ABC. So Trump posted, I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled! ! I thought this was just a private market decision, guys. You're telling me the White House was in communication with ABC demanding that Kimmel be fired, and they assured him, yeah, we're getting rid of him, and now he's mad, or they're going back on it? Anyway, the post continues. Something happened between then and now, because his audience is gone, and his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? So, again, the network is in jeopardy. They are threatening ABC very explicitly. But it's just a private market decision, guys. I've been told. I've been tisked a million times. Anyway, he is yet another arm of the DNC. And to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. No, Trump, that is not how any of this works. Simply being a media person on television and strongly favoring one side is not a campaign contribution to any campaign. That's not a thing. By that logic, Fox News, when they promote Republicans and bash Democrats, would be engaging in an illegal campaign contribution. No, it's just freedom of the press, which does include the freedom to be wildly biased. And
listen, I'm totally open. I keep seeing these graphs and these data points floating around about how Jimmy Kimmel and the other late night hosts have like 98% Democratic guests. And it's boring, it's lame, it's biased. I totally think we can condemn it, but you can't explicitly punish them for it with the government without violating the First Amendment and the freedom of the press. But Trump does not seem to care. Anyway, he says in this post, I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. So I guess we may have another lawsuit coming, or maybe he's again referencing going after their licenses or whatever. But it is very clear that the government, the federal government under Trump, is closely entangled into this mess when it should just be left to the private market to decide. If people stop watching, if local affiliates don't want to air the show, then I don't care if they axe Kimmel. But I absolutely have an issue with the government meddling, with the government using its tremendous power and influence to try to pressure one side, even if that pressure isn't effective ultimately and Kimmel stays on air, even if originally it was just private decision. I still think it's bad for the Trump administration to be engaging in this kind of pressure campaign. I think it's inappropriate, and I would absolutely feel the same way about a Democratic administration. And I think then a lot of the apologists would as well. And this is super relevant because probably tomorrow on my main podcast, Brad versus Everyone, subscribe to the links in the description, we are going to talk about a massive, massive YouTube censorship campaign that was just revealed where the Biden White House was pressuring YouTube to take down protected speech. And conservatives and Republicans are understandably livid about it, as am I. I think it's an attack on free speech and the First Amendment and totally inappropriate for the government to do that. But it's also inappropriate to do that to lived out comedians. That's my take. That's me being consistent, I think, at least. It's funny because this last line of the post, let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. That's what you should have done all along, President Trump and your administration, is stayed out of it and let them just cancel Kimmel of their own accord eventually. That's what happened with Stephen Colbert. And that's why nobody, or at least I certainly didn't have any issue with him being canceled, because it truly was a private decision. And then I guess you can gloat after if you want, but don't get involved, because then you muddy the waters, you create First Amendment issues, and you let them portray themselves as the victim of censorship or of government pressure. And then they become like a resistance hero. And I actually think that's why ABC is bringing Kimmel back, because Trump went so hard at it, that then they faced a revolt from all the entertainment people they work with saying, no, you have to stand up to Trump. You have to bring him back. It's like, you may have actually saved Jimmy Kimmel by doing your big one like this. But other than that, great stuff, Trump administration. And I just love this. When Trump supporters or media allies decide on a narrative to defend him, and then he just tweets out a blatant contradiction of it because he doesn't care. Kudos for transparency, I guess. So thank you for that much, President Trump. But you guys, let me know in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you still agree with the apologists and you just don't care about this post, that Trump had nothing to do with it? This is all just the private market, private marketing. I am pretty skeptical, and I think this post provides more evidence in my column on my side of the argument, but I want to hear from you guys, so do let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. Let me know if you're enjoying these quick hit videos, and remember to check out my long form podcast, Brad versus Everyone, where we take on media craziness, internet insanity, and political madness, all from an independent perspective. And with that, guys, we'll be back with more content real soon.